than leather. It's just like, it's just the right blend. And it's really good. Also, something you should know, very important, it's not on the vinyl, unfortunately, but on the CD, there's an unreleased song that was a demo, which I wish they had released it. Absolute masterpiece of theirs, called Crack. It's all about the crack epidemic in the 80s. I'm sure it was too political for the record label. It is, I don't know what to say about it. It's one of the best story type rap songs you've ever heard. It's fantastic. Strong contender for like the best track on the whole album. So if you haven't heard that demo, check it out online. Get the CD. I have the CD of this as well. I've played it to death in my car. By the way, playing rap in the car, very much the way to go too. So yeah, Tougher Than Leather, Run DMC, man. Real pioneers. Yeah. What can you say? And then I'll just show you one last Run DMC. My last Run DMC. The last show, it's the last one I had to show. You had to get this. It's the single for It's Tricky. It's got a club mix as well. But what's cool, this also has Proud to Be Black. So, if I'm gonna take, if I just want something to, to take to a party or whatever, and I don't want to bring my really expensive ones, this is the way to go. Now, granted, these are not that expensive. One of the nice things I want to say about collecting 80s hip hop is like the cat hasn't gotten out of the bag entirely. People are not forking over the huge money just yet. Some albums getting pricey, but 80s hip hop does not have the following of 90s hip hop. A little bit of a history. Brief intermission. Hip hop records went gold, 100,000 copies, if they did really, really well in the 80s. No record in the 80s was going platinum. It didn't happen. It had not blown up to that extent. Most of the people buying rap records were Black Americans. So it was not, it hadn't crossed the community divides, the segregated divides in, culture. And so it was, it hadn't blown up the way that we think of hip hop today. And so for that reason, a lot of these records, you have a couple things working against you collecting rap vinyl. So one is, not a lot of it in the 80s. 100,000 copies was a huge hit. Two, these records, most of the sales were singles. They were singles and they were tapes. Almost all of it. Three, if there was an LP being sold, it was usually a promo copy. It was for DJs. It was for, for DJs on the radio or DJs at parties. And they scratched the hell out of these records, right? They played the crap out of them. Also, keep in mind, a lot of these records went to, the people that were buying these. It was marketed. It was created for a demographic of folks, on hard times, right? Living in poverty, semi-poverty, like the disenfranchised community, right? And so they didn't have access to the finest audiophile needles, styluses and turntables and everything, right? They did the best they could, right? But if you don't have nice equipment, it doesn't matter how careful you are with your records, you can damage them pretty badly. And so that's the other thing. It's hard to find these records in good condition for that. Either they were played to death, or people didn't have the right equipment, or even if they tried really hard, they maybe couldn't afford the right equipment. So, that's why I take really good care of my hip-hop records, and if you can find one in good shape, you will pay a little bit more. But because it hasn't blown up necessarily, when I say a little bit more, I mean like between 10 and at the most 30. Few records are in the 50 range. Mostly like 30. But mostly like if I've seen a really nice condition 80s hip hop record, I think the most I've paid is like 15. So it's not terrible. So here's another one of my favorites. Really underrated. Doug E. Fresh. 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh, you're on. Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew. Now you can tell this is an 80s album before like regulations and mainstreaming took kind of cut in, because one of their jackets has got a little FUBU logo. And that's one of the first things that the lawyers freak out about on album, especially at album covers, let alone like music videos or a photograph anywhere, is that you got logos. You can get sued for trademark infringement and all that kind of stuff. So they always blur that stuff out, and I think it's kind of cool that this is so old school that they didn't even think to blur out the logos on the shoes and everything. It's like, whatever, just put on your favorite clothes. We're doing a photo shoot. Go look cool in front of a thing. Also, I think it's worth noting that, it goes to show just how different the 80s were for hip-hop before the stereotypes of the industry set in. Notice bright blue sky. Notice the guy's smiling. Like, he's not trying to be like, I got shot 20 times and I just got out of Clinton. All that kind of stereotype nonsense, it wasn't around. And hip-hop was really reinventing the community in a really cool way and showing a different side. And so I really love this cover. It's like, it really speaks to what the album is like, which is really fun. It's not dumb party. It's like fun. You're still slightly aware of stuff. I don't know how to describe it though, because it is kind of like party hip hop, but it's just really well done. Dougie Fresh was famous for being the king of the beatbox. Beatboxing, for those that might not know, is making a beat purely a cappella, purely with your voice. That kind of stuff. Only he would do it like crazy. Just you have to hear it. It's just absolutely nuts. On top of that, they all could rhyme really well. And the first track, oh man, the show. Oh my God. It's one of the samples they have in there. Fantastic. I mean, you're just gonna bump. You can't not move hearing that track. It's so good. Leave It Up to the Cut Professor. I mean, come on. You got a track called Leave It Up to the Cut Professor. How are you gonna go wrong? Man, loving every minute of it. Loving every minute of it. Hey, they got a track on here about abortion. I did not remember that. I'm gonna listen to that again. I'm kind of curious what that's about. All the Way to Heaven. All the Way to Heaven's another really good one. Yeah, so there you go. You got a track about abortion and stuff. Like I said, throughout the 80s, you have this theme where people are talking about real issues. You didn't have conscious rap over here and like not conscious rap the way you do today. Like, oh, that's got politics. I don't want to hear that. Like, no, man. Hip hop was a continuation of the civil rights movement, and it was a consciousness building movement with music. And so you see that every album. Like I said, it's great stuff, but it's also a ton of fun. All of it's just like, oh, so good. Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew, man. And I think this album was like, I want to say that one's a little bit more because it's in the shrink and everything. Oh, it also comes with, I should show this actually. This is kind of awesome. I got this at a local record store. But one of the things that's kind of awesome with this, dun, 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 dun. Hey kids, join the Dougie Fresh and Get Fresh crew. And if you join the fan club in less than 6 minutes, because there's a famous line with like 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh, you're on. Anyway, I think this is like the best freaking flyer advertisement. Oh man, I wish this was still real, because I would get all the freshest Dougie Fresh gear. I'd be all over that. Anyway, I'm pretty happy. I'm really happy that that came with my record here. And yeah, this one is in like near mint shape, so I love it. Great record. Okay, get a drink of water. I'm talking so much here. I'm not going to edit that out. Sorry, I don't edit my videos. It's too much time. Okay, on to another pioneer of 1980s hip hop, strong contender for God, can I pick a favorite? There's so many good ones. And we're gonna get to some of the women in hip hop in the '80s too, who are freaking fantastic. But first, I gotta show a strong contender for my favorite. Kool Moe Dee, baby. Yeah, I'm getting all pumped now because these records are so good, man. So good. How You Like Me Now. Kool Moe Dee. How You Like Me Now, bruh? Oh, man. This record, so good. It was $10, my local record store. I mean, dude, on the back is a penguin with a boombox. Enough said. No, I'm just kidding. Kool Moe Dee, I don't know. I don't even know how to put words to this man. I'll read you some lyrics since they're printed on the back here. Rap is an art and I'm a Picasso. But of course, why else would you try so hard to paint a picture and try to get yourself in my shoes, but then it won't fit you? I'm bigger and better, forget about death. For every time I rock the mic, I left a stain in your brain will remain stuck in the back of your brain till you see me again. Respect, I come correct. The rhymes I select, nothing short of vernacular is pure, and I can secure life after death. And with my breath, my voice is a cure. I heal life from the words I spread. I'll make a sick man rocking his deathbed. Sucker MCs, I'll make the girl say, "Ow, she's jacking. How you like me now?" I mean, just like Anyway, I'm of course totally obliterating his style. I can't even begin to rap like Kool Moe Dee. The way I describe Kool Moe Dee to people is, hearing these records makes me want to never, ever rap again. And hey, maybe if you're watching this video, you're like, yes, do that, you're terrible. I don't know. But I've rocked a show a day. I've rocked a number of shows in my day. Anyway, point is, this dude will make you, whoever, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what race you are, if you hear this record and you think that you can do it better, you are sadly mistaken. Just saying. This guy makes me want to quit rap. Just forget it. Kool Moe Dee, man. He hits so hard on his rhymes, and he's got, I think of all the rappers, he's got the best combination of insightful, deep, like complex lyricism with boom bap structure. So like boom bap, boom boom bap, like it's got that rhythm and cadence. It's not like trap music or on, weird time, 3/4 timing or anything like that. But he's got, you hear every word and you're thinking like, man, I could do that, but you can't. Like, he lands it perfectly. And anyway, I don't know. He's just fantastic. One of the things that also is a nice thing on this album, he's got the rap report card on the back here, where he rates different rappers by their skill sets, man. Something you don't see very much today. So this is when people were really masters of the craft. And so you've got here on the report card, it says vocabulary, articulation, creativity, originality, versatility, voice, records, stage presence, sticking to themes, and innovating rhymes. And who are the rappers that he rates here? Well, only the best rappers of all time. You've got Kool Moe Dee, Melly Mel, Grandmaster Caz, LL Cool J, Tila Rock, Rakim, KRS-One, Spoonie G, MC Sean, Dougie Fresh, Bismarck, Curtis Blow, Just Ice, Run DMC, Fat Boys, Houdini, Beastie Boys, UTFO, Heavy D and the Boys, Boogie Boys, Ultramagnetic, Public Enemy, Stetsasonic, Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five, which is kind of a double because you already got Melly Mel up here, but that's cool. And Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Ain't that a VIP list? But what's on this album, by the way? There's one song you've definitely heard. I feel like, unless you've been under a rock, we've all heard of the Will Smith movie, Wild Wild West. Wild Wild West, Jim West, Desperado, Rough Riders, no you don't want nada, none of this, six gun in this, brother running this, buffing no soldier, look, it's like I told you, any damsel that's in distress, be out of that dress when you meet Jim West. That was the first rap song I ever memorized. I was like 12 or something. that song, though, it turns out, is an homage to this album and the song by Kool Moe Dee, Wild Wild West. Does he do it better? Well, it's different. It's way, way lower budget. I don't know. It's hard to say. Wild Wild West is an amazing song. Kool Moe Dee makes a cameo on the music video with Will Smith from the movie. So even if you don't like the movie, I know that movie gets a lot of shade nowadays, that music video, bam, is tops. It was #1 on VH1 week after week after week. Does a cameo to Kool Moe Dee. It's actually also sampling Stevie Wonder from Songs in the Key of Life. And he makes a cameo in the music video too. So a little bit of history all wrapped together there. But way back is a really cool song. It's actually about, this is in what, 86 or something like that. And he's talking about, what the house parties were like way back in the days. This would have been like, what, mid-70s? It's funny because this is now way back, right? Man. This might be the first rap album to sample 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, too. There's a song called 50 Ways on here. I don't know why, but that Paul Simon song is sampled a lot. Like, a lot in hip-hop. I have no idea why. But there you go. I didn't actually show the back cover, but in case you want to see it. Kool Moe Dee. This video is going to be so long. If I keep talking like this, I'm sorry. I get excited. Kool Moe Dee is the bomb. And I do have to talk a little more about Kool Moe Dee. So, we're not done yet. First, I'm going to show the singles that I got here. Because there's a single for this album. And Kool Moe Dee is pretty damn cool. How You Like Me Now. And the back of the chair. He's got just the coolest glasses ever. And there's another single from this album, like I was just mentioning, The Wild Wild West. His music videos are really corny, by the way. Really low budget. Pretty fun, though. And so yeah, those are the two singles off that album. So that was actually Kool Moe Dee's second album. He had 3 monster albums in the 80s. That was the second one. The other 2 have to be mentioned. His first breakout solo hit. He was part of the Treacherous 3 in the 70s. Total pioneer in the early days of hip-hop. Of course, made these monster albums in the 80s and absolutely killed it. Kool Moe Dee, self-titled. I got this album sealed, brand new, online for 15 bucks. I had to open it. I have a really hard time opening sealed albums. This one had to be opened. Oh, this is a great album. And you'll notice a pattern here. Most of the debut albums from 80s hip-hop artists are grimier, tougher, harder than when they get more radio play. It gets watered down a little bit. Sometimes it's more polished and it's fine. But just like the Run DMC launched record, just like the Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, the first one is the grimiest. And it's good. It's really good. And it has stuff, man. There's a song on here. It's nothing like anything you've ever heard. It's called Go See the Doctor. It's all about when you messing around with the wrong person and it burns to pee, you gotta go see the doctor. Think about who you messing with. It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, how many rappers are making songs about an entire song about checking up for STDs? And it's good. It's real. And it's just, oh man, it's amazing. And he's got a song on here called Dumb Dick. And it's cool. Like, what he's talking about is he's talking about people that are making bad choices. Making bad choices, getting venereal disease, thinking with their dick, not thinking with their brain, you know, and it's refreshing and it's cool. It's something you don't hear nowadays, right? Everything on the radio is, how am I going to get laid tonight, you know, in 10 different variations, right? Or I'm heartbroken because whatever. But this just, it takes it in a different direction, explores some different themes. I really like that. Little John, by the way, fuck. Oh, I'm not supposed to cuss on YouTube. Anyway, Little John is wow, dude, that song is heavy, hard, awesome song. It's all about like kind of the young hustler theme that you've heard before. You know, this guy hustling for his money, whatever. But there's a parallel here between 1930s gangster films from Warner Brothers and early 80s hip hop. You might say, what do those have in common? Well, unlike The Godfather, Goodfellas, or whatever else that comes after, Sopranos, gangster films in the 30s always talked about the social conditions that led to a life of crime. Many cases, it was soldiers returning from World War I from the front, like in The Roaring Twenties with Humphrey Bogart and James Cagney. Awesome film. And yeah, just all those classic gangster films from the 30s, mostly with James Cagney because he's the bomb, but like Little Caesar was the same way too. All of them, they talked about the poverty, they talked about the joblessness, they talked and showed how people tried to be part of society in other ways and ended up resorting to crime as a last resort. And that's what Kool Moe Dee does with Little John on this album. It is not just glorifying hustle culture, making money, selling drugs, whatever. It's about all sorts of real stuff that led to it. In the same way, KRS-One did a song called Love's Gonna Get Ya. Similar vibe. So again, the same theme you're seeing here. Consciousness elevation. Community elevation. You got this album now, we're talking about sexually transmitted disease, we're talking about origins and rise of hustle culture, where it comes from. It's just real. And then he's got a song on here that just blows out of the water. Anti-drug raps. They were common in the 80s. You don't think of that nowadays because we got so many stupid rappers glorifying drugs, Eminem, that, you know, it is hard to imagine that there was a time when all the rappers worked together, the most famous rappers in the world at the time, to promote an anti-drug message, to promote sober life and, you know, or at least, you know, keeping it under control with your partying. And one of the big things they were fighting against was the crack epidemic. The crack epidemic was destroying the black community in the United States at the time, absolutely destroying it. And I believe it's actually been confirmed that that it was used as a tool by government agencies to do so, by the CIA especially. So it was a tool to destroy the civil rights movement. And so, you know, they were going through some really, really hard stuff. Still are. Let's be honest. In the words of one of the greatest living, still recording rappers, Azim from Oakland, he says, genocide is creeping like it's Halloween in May, because ever since they gave us crack cocaine, it's been 9/11, 24/7 in all ways. That's Azim. That's hard, and that's true. And so there's a song on here. I told you about the demo, Crack by Run DMC, which is fucking fantastic. But I think this song is even better. Monster Crack. Kool Moe Dee on this album, man, the best anti-drug song I've ever heard.